Hello, good evening. Whenever people hear that I was a contestant on the reality TV show Project Runway, they become very interested and intrigued and usually ask what Tim Gunn is like in real life. Well, if you follow Project Runway, he is as he appears on TV. He's very dapper, sophisticated, and very wise. Project Runway was an incredibly interesting experience. My time on the show was short-lived, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to share as much of my personal experience, my culture, and my background as I would have liked. I learned a lot about myself and what drives me, and where I get my strength, determination, and tenacity from. I get most of that from my late father. You see, he was a very ambitious man and knew early on that hard work and education were the tools needed to succeed. A lot of African kids hear stories from their parents of how kids today have it easy and how when their parents were children, they lived in mud huts without electricity, had to walk to school and carry water on their head. Well, that was literally my father's experience early on. He walked miles from his village of Mutongo to boarding school. And during the school holidays, he would come home and help his mother in the farm. He was determined to get the best education available. And since he didn't come from a very wealthy family, he had to work extremely hard. He eventually attended University of Kinshasa and was one of just a handful of Congolese with an undergrad degree in the entire country in 1963. He later attended UCLA and the Sorbonne in France, where he received his master's and PhD degrees respectively. He was an accomplished linguist, professor, author, and diplomat. And to me, he was the best role model a girl could have. He was my hero. My mother died when I was 7 years old, so he raised 5 children all by himself. And despite living in a very chauvinistic society, he made sure that my sister and I had the same opportunities as my 3 elder brothers. My father was also a proud Congolese, and he insisted that we knew where we came from and were always connected to our culture. Congolese music was a constant in my childhood. I was born in Uganda, went to boarding school in Kenya, and lived in Ethiopia, Nigeria, and Niger. Even though I don't remember all my childhood memories, they are luckily captured on video. Yes, my father made sure to make home movies that played more like mini documentaries, and even included a music score set to Congolese music. From birthdays to all our travels across Africa, and to holiday trips back home to Goma and Mutongo, the best moments are captured. And whenever I think of these times, I connect it to a particular Congolese musician and song. My father loved the rumba and classical Congolese music from artists like Franco, Zaiko Langalanga, Mbilia Bel, Rochero, and Papa Wemba. The Lingala lyrics filled our homes in all those different countries, and the sounds of the horns and the trombones and guitars filled us with Congolese pride. The last time I was in Goma was in 1995, right after the genocide in Rwanda that spilled over across the border into my hometown. And I haven't been back since. Shortly after, I came to the US to attend college, got my undergrad in international business and economics, and in 2005 got another bachelor's in fashion design. And being away from home for such a long time, I wanted to stay connected to Congo. And I did this through fashion. I own and design a women's wear brand called Modahnik, which I started in 2009. And my aim was to try and strike a perfect balance by mixing modern silhouettes with Congolese style. Music is the essence of Congolese culture, and so is fashion. And I'm constantly inspired by the rich and vibrant culture of Congo, particularly the Sapeur movement. And Sapeur stands for Société des Ambianceurs et des Personnes Élégantes. in French, which translates to the Society of Ambience Makers and Elegant People. The sapeur is it's a subculture, and they're known for their eclectic and over-the-top fashion sense, sporting only the most stylish designer labels, wearing only meticulously matched colors. The Congo's dandies, as they're called, are the very embodiment of sartorial elegance and are devoted to the cult of style. The sapeur movement is a constant source of inspiration when I design. I know how lucky and blessed I am to have received a good education, which has opened up so many opportunities for me. However, I know that many of my fellow Congolese back home are not as fortunate as I am. And I feel, like my father, that it is my responsibility to do whatever I can to help and give back. When you empower a woman, you empower a whole society. And I believe that the answer to eliminate poverty in Africa is trade and not aid. Last year, I partnered up with Mam Africa, a nonprofit based in my home province. We launched a successful Kickstarter campaign that supported a line of clutches made in Congo. The women of Mam Africa handmade these clutches from repurposed fabric left over from the Modahnik collections. For this, they were paid a living wage, and in addition to providing sustainable employment, Mam Africa also provides healing arts programs, since a lot of the women are victims of rape from the ongoing war in Eastern Congo, along with education and economic opportunity. We all know that music heals, and for a lot of Congolese, it's also a form of escape from the day-to-day hardships. That is why I thank Nana and Kari for the incredibly inspired and passionate work they are doing in Kinshasa through Music Beyond. They are making a difference by training musicians and empowering communities in Congo. I applaud you for that. I leave you with this African proverb. If you think you're too small to make a difference, you haven't spent the night with a mosquito. Thank you.